right, after months of talking about it, we have finally made it to the Buffalo Naval Museum and Park. We are so excited. We've been talking about this since we did the Warplane Museum in Geneseo a few months ago, and it's a beautiful day and we're finally here. John, what are we gonna see?
We're gonna see a bunch of ships today. USS Sullivan, USS Croaker, and what are the other two?
And the USS Little Rock and PTF-7?
PTF-17, yeah.
Okay, so I'm not sure what PTF-17 even is.
Probably a PT boat.
I don't know what that is.
Personnel transport.
Oh. I think they have a helicopter over here too, so we're gonna walk around. We've got a little bit of time before our tour starts, so we're gonna walk around the park a little bit and see what's here.
All right, sounds good.
Even if you don't pay to go on the boats, you can still walk around and see everything in the park and even walk down the water right past the boats, so it's still worth it to visit.
Getting ready for this tour?
Yeah, let's go sign in. Looks like you go right to the gift shop.
All right, yeah, ship tours.
There's a ship right there.
Yeah, these are really big.
This is the PTF-17 Nasty Class Fast Patrol Boat. It has been on display in Buffalo since 1979 and just recently got refurbished. And then on this side of the park is the USS Little Rock in the back. The smaller destroyer is the USS Sullivans, and then further up where you can't see kind of by that flag is the USS Croaker. And since it's a submarine, obviously it's down a lot lower.
You can see we're up there. Yeah. USS Sullivans is a Fletcher-class destroyer.
Oh, it's a
commissioned,
destroyer. Okay, I was going to ask that. Yeah.
Commissioned in 1943 in the South Pacific. In World War II, they earned 9 battle ribbons.
Oh, wow. So this is South Pacific, huh?
Saw combat in the Korean War.
Wow.
Took part in the 1962 naval blockade of Cuba during the Soviet missile crisis. A crew of 290 sailors and 20 officers.
Our first stop on the Sullivans was the sick bay, and they had it set up kind of like a nice little museum, so you could see what it might have looked like back when the ship was being used. And behind sick bay was an auxiliary radio station. From there, we went to the front of the boat to look at the big 5-inch guns up there, and we learned more about Mike, our tour guide, who served on an aircraft carrier in the Navy.
So these are tiny compared to aircraft carriers.
Yeah, you better believe it. 11 miles on the surface, 7 miles anti-aircraft.
Oh, wow.
In our travels, we'll be going through a handling room underneath one of the gun mounts here.
Okay.
We'll show you how to get the ammunition up into the gun mount.
So different types of ammunition for whatever they're going for, either aircraft or something on land, huh?
Right.
Boats are
different kind of shells for different purposes there. So.
Okay. So what's this for, a lifeboat here? Is that the lifeboat stuff?
There was once upon a time. Anti-submarine warfare.
Oh, this is, huh?
These are called hedgehogs. This is a system that we borrowed off the British back in World War II.
I grabbed a brochure from the gift shop that had a map of each of the ships that we would be going on, and I noticed immediately that the USS Sullivans had a hedgehog launcher. So I was really glad that it was part of the tour because I wanted to know what a hedgehog was and how you launched it. And apparently, this is it.
Float upon contact.
Oh, okay.
This frame is stationary, so you're steering these actually by the direction of the ship.
Oh, okay.
So we're chasing down an enemy submarine. We know where the approximate depth. We know it's about 200 feet off. So when we get to that point, we fire these. They go up and then come down in an elliptical pattern, go down into the sea, strike upon contact. If just one of these hit exactly, it could do the sub in.
Oh, really?
But hopefully you're going to hit that submarine, explode, you're going to sink them, or damage them and bring them to the surface. Otherwise, they fall harmlessly to the seabed.
This is a 40mm anti-aircraft gun. It would take 4 people to run it. One would be turning it to face the right direction, one would be aiming the gun, and then there would be a person on either side loading the 29-pound shells, when you can see one right there, into the gun. And John actually got to climb into the seat here, and it's pretty interesting. The trigger, like to shoot the gun, is kind of like an accelerator. You just push it with your right foot. So John's in the seat that turns the plane side to side. On the other side is another seat, and you can see you're cranking, and the person on the other side is raising and lowering the barrel of the gun. We took a quick stop in the kitchen and were told that these mixing bowls are actually considered small and that bigger ships would have had much bigger bowls. We were also told that if the seas were really rough, sailors would pretty much just get coffee and sandwiches because it was just too dangerous to try and be cooking on flat-top griddles. And then it was time to look at another gun.
20 millimeter anti-aircraft gun.
Nice.
This would be manned by a crew of 3.
Oh, really?
Each of these canisters held 60 20 millimeter shells.
Wow.
These would be stacked all over the deck. So you're firing away at the rate of 450 rounds per barrel. Once this was empty, pull this lever down, throw it aside, and slap another one in there.
Oh, really?
I'll give you the position of the main gunner here before we turn it over to you. This is how the gunner would operate here.
Oh, wow, this one moves.
Yikes.
Holy cow. That's
Wow.
heavy.
Feed it toward the ring.
Over here?
Yeah.
So hold on to these here.
Well, that's
Put 'em
the
towards
opposite
ring.
way.
I'm
Towards
gonna
the
fall
ring.
over. I don't know how they're going to do that. I
Yeah.
trust you.
You try it. You can do it.
I don't want to fall over. I want to grab it right here, not on the outside.
Wherever
Yeah.
you're comfortable, whatever you want to hang on to there. There you go.
Yeah,
Wow.
see?
We next looked at some depth charges and learned how they would have worked. These ones were 300 pounds of explosives. There were also a few areas that we were not able to go to on the USS Sullivans because a couple of years ago it had a breach in the hull and was actually sinking. They've been able to temporarily repair it, but it is going to be dry docked this winter so that it can finally be repaired for real. After we looked at these depth charges, though, it was time to go up to the USS Little Rock.
Wow.
USS Little Rock is a Cleveland-class cruiser commissioned in 1945. It was built to go fight in World War II. The war was over before it was ready to go. With the advent of the Thales missile system, the Navy brought 3 of these cruisers back to life. Little Rock went through a conversion, recommissioned as a guided missile cruiser in 1960.
Oh, okay.
We went into the missile house next. This would have been a top secret area back when the ship was actually being used, and this is where the missiles were assembled. There were 3 parts to each missile. The back was the booster, which got it off the ship, and then once it reached a certain distance, that would fall off, and there was a rocket launcher in the middle, and then the very front was the warhead. There were also 12 fins on each of the missiles, and those were added after the missiles were put together. It made storage easier to have them just be long sections and not have all of the fins on them while in storage. We headed downstairs and got to see what is considered one of the most important parts of the ship, which was the post office. It was very important for soldiers to be able to be in contact with their families back home. Another very important part of the ship was these oxygen breathing apparatuses. They would have been around the ship in various areas just in case of an emergency. Sailors would be able to put these on and be able to breathe while they were trying to put out a fire, because if there's a fire, there's really nowhere to go.
Pick a bed, huh?
Oh boy.
This berthing area here is for chief petty officers.
Oh, okay.
These are the career men. These are the guys that have been in 20, 25 years.
Oh, okay.
There's even a subdivision to this. Back in there, these are for the senior and master chief petty officer.
Oh, okay.
And they refer to that as the old goat's locker.
Oh, okay.
If you see on the tables there, the slight ridge.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Theoretically,
Yeah.
to keep your tray from sliding off in your lap.
Right.
Old salsa, what you do, you wet a piece of bread and you put it down and you put your tray on it. It's not going
Like glue,
anywhere.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Little tricks of the trade here. And the galley's still active for certain things. It's certainly for the scouts and the scouting weekend.
Yep.
Oh, look at the size of those 2 pots. You're cooking for 1,400 people with those.
Wow. Yeah,
Wow, it's a lot bigger. He's right.
it is, yeah.
I feel sorry
Wow.
for the guy that has to go in there and clean those.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, yeah, we'll just let that one soak overnight.
This next area was another berthing area, and these beds are referred to as coffin lockers. As you can see in this middle one, the top lifts up and there's space for the sailors to keep personal items like uniforms, books, personal hygiene items. And then that lid would just close, the mat was right on top, and you could jump into bed and have a good night's rest. It doesn't look comfortable, but we assured that these men were tired enough that laying down anywhere was a good enough spot to sleep. Much like life on a ship, we couldn't stand still for long. There was still so much more to see. We headed further into the USS Little Rock and got to see some items that actually had been on the ship while it was in service. and there was a whole display on a day in the life as a sailor, and even a locker that showed just how little these men were able to have with them. Everything was Navy issued. It had to be folded a certain way, stored a certain way, or you would be up in the middle of the night redoing it all. Here are two models. This one in the front shows what the USS Little Rock looked like before it was turned into a missile launcher, and then in the back is what it looked like after. But as you can see, that first model had tons of guns on it. And then the second model of what it looks like now, there's a helicopter landing pad in the front, there's the missile launchers, and almost all of the guns have been removed.
3 beds in there.
3, yeah.
Wow.
Especially this one's really tiny, huh? I don't even know how you get up to the top.
Oh, gosh.
So
Wow.
you're at sea for 30 days and you pull into port, but you screwed up, you're restricted to the ship. So all your buddies go, after 30 days at sea, your buddies go ashore, you stay aboard the ship and clean. So there's an inspiration there to behave yourself.
Yeah, that's for sure.
We didn't talk about this area, but I'm pretty sure it is located underneath one of those giant guns and would feed ammunition up to it. But look at the size of that ammunition. It is enormous. We also stepped back outside on the way to our next location, and it's incredible to see how big the USS Little Rock is. Down there is the USS Croaker and then the USS Sullivans, and this ship is bigger than both of those put together just about.
Yeah, this feels like where important decisions are made.
Oh, yeah.
This is nice. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is
Wow.
like an apartment.
It's like a cruise ship.
Again, it's a caste system,
Yeah.
Mike has its privilege.
Yeah.
Wow. There's a good chunk of boat right here.
We'll have meetings of sorts in here for some of the local.
Oh, this is pretty nice. You even got your own door on this side, portholes and all that.
It's a pretty good sized bathroom, too.
Is there a bathroom in there too?
Yeah, a good sized one. Shower,
Really?
everything.
We continued onward and upward. This tour does have a lot of stairs. We were going upstairs, we were going downstairs. This was a pretty nice staircase with a really good railing, but some of them just had chain link railings, and the stairs were very steep and narrow. So that is something to consider if you're thinking about doing this tour. There are a lot of stairs, and there really isn't any alternate way to get around. We made it to the bridge and learned that things don't look like this anymore. So back in the day, 6 to 8 people would have been here helping the ship steer and stay on course. Now, I guess everything is computerized and it's 3 jump seats and a joystick.
This is called an engine order telegraph.
Uh-huh.
What you have over here, you have various here's
yep.
stop, 1/3 speed, 2/3 full speed, emergency, etc., etc., etc. Now there's a hookup down in the engine room, way down in the engine room. So all right, we're at stop, and I want to go to 2/3 speed. So what I do here, up here, I move this thing, and I stop at 2/3.
Oh, okay.
Down in the engine room, they have something corresponding to this. Bells and whistles are going off down there. They look at it, it says 2/3 speed. So one of these down there, they turn the dial to 2/3, and it registers up here, so we know they got their instructions.
Okay.
Ah, I get you.
Oh,
Oh, we're pretty high up, huh?
I know. You don't realize.
Yeah, oh, we're really getting up high now.
This is as high as you go.
And then we're going to go as low as we can go.
A bonus about being up so high is we got a beautiful view of the Buffalo waterfront. It was a gorgeous day and tons of people were out on the water.
One of them you've seen, the semaphore flags, you've seen those in the movies.
Yep. Yep.
Another over here in this box, we got something like 62 international flags.
Oh, yeah.
There'll be halyards going up here with a yard arm coming up.
Oh, really?
So the signalman knew the combinations, the various flags all meant something here.
So along with stairs, there were also some really tight places that we had to walk through. This was especially true once we got on the USS Croaker, which was the submarine. But I was also glad that we had a tour guide, because even with the yellow stripe painted on the floor for us to follow, I think I would have gotten lost.
This is 130 pounds? Wow.
13 miles.
Wow. Wow. That's how you aim?
I don't know. Is this periscope how you aim?
Yep.
Wow.
Wow. So they've got a phone.
How noisy you think it is in here, huh?
Very. There's so much to it.
Yeah.
It looks so, I mean, it's so contained from the outside.
Ammunition over there too.
They were probably grabbing ammunition from somewhere.
Yeah, it's pretty tight up there.
You
Wow.
can see here when they fire.
Okay, now it is.
Ready?
Yeah.
It's loud.
Okay.
Yikes. All right, guys, that means lunch.
We finally made our way down to the USS Croaker, which was the last part of the tour.
So I noticed that this one's black. Is that normal for a sub to be black?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give you some dope up here before we go down below.
Okay.
It's going to be kind of confining down below. Still got a breeze here.
Yeah.
The USS Croaker was a Gato-class submarine. It was commissioned in 1944. Made 6 wartime patrols. Wartime patrol average 47 days.
Wow.
The longest they were out was 62 days. 74 sailors and 7 officers. Can you imagine being cooped up this
No.
size
Yeah.
for 60 days?
No.
That's crazy.
Forward hatch was here. The stairway was not here. This is for the public to gain access.
Okay.
But this is how they would load the torpedoes up forward. So we're going to go down into the forward torpedo room.
All right.
As you see, they got some fans in here. Otherwise, it'd be stifling.
Yeah.
Blow the torpedo. Have a seat.
Wow. Wow, this is solid, huh?
That is big.
Okay, if you look behind the glass, there's 2 versions of the Croaker.
Oh, yeah.
Down below is the World War II version. You see the open sail. You see the gun mount on there.
Oh, yeah.
After the conversion, after the war, went through a conversion in 1951. This is how she looked like in a modern time here. A closed sail, no guns on the deck. It's one of the 3 engines. Torpedoes here, 2 more torpedo tubes on top. 2, 4, 6. Those are loaded in the left door. 7, 8. Back here, it looks like a telephone booth. That is the officer's bed. The officer's door.
Yep, the doors all the time?
Yes. Well, I do.
Oof.
Not much room.
No, not much. Is this the radio room too?
No, this is the control room. This is the nuts and bolts of the operation.
Oh, okay.
Up here is the conning tower.
Uh-huh.
All the equipment's taken out of there. The Navy took it all out. There's 1 periscope left up there. Just to give you an idea, periscopes, there are 2 of them. They would telescope up 62 feet
Oh, wow.
from the field to the surface.
Wow.
Give you a basic idea how the submarine would work. You're on the surface and you want to submerge the boat. Built into and around the boat are the ballast tanks. We open up the vents. The ballast tanks fill with seawater and become heavy. Outside the boat, up on the bow, there are these 2 stubby-looking aircraft-type wings. Those are the bow planes.
Oh, okay.
There's the same setup on the stern. Those are the stern planes.
Oh, okay.
That controls your vertical movement. Steer you down, steer you back up.
Oh, interesting. Oh, okay.
Now, if you're submerged and you want to surface,
Yep.
over here are a series of blow valves. It operates with a wrench-type device.
Oh, okay.
You're sending compressed air into those ballast tanks. You're blowing the seawater out. You close the vents behind them. Now you're light. We steer our way back up to the surface. We're out. We're submerged.
Yep.
Right? Cover of darkness. We want to surface
Yep.
to do our thing up there. We're going to darken ship. There's a doorway outside the hatch up there. It takes you to a perch outside. Radar picks up a ship coming, closing fast. Officer of the deck yells, "Clear the bridge, take her down." The 2 lookouts come down to man these wheels. Officer of the deck closes up the hatch behind him there. Now we've got to tell the crew what we're doing, and I hope this works. That last one was the klaxon. It's usually a lot louder than this. So everybody knows we're going to dive. Less than 40 seconds, we're under the waves.
Really?
Wow.
How quick you can do it.
Wow, that's fast.
There was not a lot of space in this submarine. Even where everyone had to work was small. The cafeteria and kitchen were a little bit bigger, and don't get excited about these bunks because there would have been so many more. They just cleared space out for displays and for tourists to be able to get through. This was the forward engine room, and there would have been 2 engines in the past. There's just 1 now because when it was recommissioned to be a hunter-killer, they took 1 of the engines out.
My head on that one.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Like 40 years ago,
Getting tighter and tighter.
Yeah. You make it through?
Yeah, barely.
So this is the steering room?
Yep.
The last place we visited was the aft torpedo room. There were 8 torpedoes that were housed here. back up in the front where we started, there would have been 16 that were there. Also, 23 men would have slept back here. And just like that, we were back outside. They had some warplanes, tanks, and then that PTF-17 boat also to look at. You couldn't go behind the gate, but you could walk down the sidewalk. Going the other direction down the sidewalk was a beautiful garden as well as some monuments, and it was a really beautiful area.
All right, what'd you think?
Oh, this excellent tour, excellent.
Yeah, that was really great.
Yeah.
One thing we learned at the very end of the tour, this is the first year they've done guided tours. Normally it's just
Self-guided tours.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was great to have.
Oh my gosh.
What's it called? A docent?
a docent. You're learning about the stuff as you're seeing it, instead of kind of just wandering aimlessly, wondering things.
Yep. And then thinking of questions yourself with no one to ask.
Yeah. And it was neat too because they turned lots of different areas. There were lots of bunks that had been taken down in like their little like pocket museums. Like they had a Polish one, they had a Marine one, they had one on Vietnam. So there are like museums within the museum.
Yeah,
so it
that's
was
great.
neat.
Yeah, very. Man, I can't believe some of these spots are really, really tight to get through.
Yeah.
As you can tell.
I bonked my head for a
Yeah,
photo.
that sub is really tight.
It was tight.
Just the difference in size of these two ships here.
It's incredible.
It is. It is quite a difference.
Yeah. But I would say definitely worth the money. Check it out if you can go with a docent. If they're still doing it, definitely do it.
Yep. And I think these one or both are going to dry dock next year to get some repairs done on the hull. So if you get a chance, come before that. Otherwise, it'll probably be a year before they come back.
All right, Buffalo Naval Park, downtown Buffalo on the waterfront.
Yeah.
Be sure to check it out. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe.
And we'll see you on the trails.